Okay, different kind of video today. Shopping guide for the UTV lover, or maybe just yourself. No judgment here. First off, where to shop, some Black Friday deals, that sort of thing that run on through the weekend. So I'm gonna break it up into 4 categories. Under $100, the $100 to $300 range, $300 to $1,000 range, and then over $1,000, focusing more on the first 2 categories because these parts are expensive and I understand. Okay, so first off, tips of where to shop. So like I mentioned, there are some Black Friday deals through a lot of different sites. Google is your friend with all that. There's also a lot of bonuses with different companies. I think UTV Source is one that offers a new customer discount where it's like 5% off or something like that, maybe 10% on your first order. Treal, T-R-E-A-L, Treal does that also. But otherwise, these companies and vendors are super ruthless. And so going on Facebook forums, the Can-Am X3 Facebook group and that sort of thing, and just asking about, hey, can anybody get me a deal on this if you're looking for like especially a big item, you'll have 10 people in the first 20 minutes message you and say, you know, hey, I'll get you 10% off, what do you want exactly? So go with that stuff, or just look at discount codes and that sort of thing. And then as far as where, let's see, like I said, UTV Source, Fueled UTV, Rocky Mountain, which they're usually cheaper stuff, but they have really good OEM parts, and some of their aftermarket stuff isn't too bad. I'll get into a couple of specific items. UTV Guide is another one, and then S3 Power Sports out of Louisiana. They make really good stuff, and they have, I think from right now, when this video goes out, until Monday, they have 15% off their entire store. And there's a bunch of companies that are like that. I think Shock Therapy is doing something similar. They're like 20% off or something like that for the next couple days. Okay, and for the under $100 category, first off, and I have this, I can speak for it, PRP spare tire bag. If you have a spare tire on the back of your car, this goes in the center of it. It's, I think it's for 15-inch wheels, but it'll fit in a 14, it'll kind of squish. I keep my Impact in it and some other tools like that. Works really well, and it's pretty cheap. And in the same category, Kemimoto door bags, and then the center bag too, stuff like that. Kemimoto, it's a really good brand for the adventurer. They're not super high quality stuff, but it's really good for the money, especially if you're just going out on afternoon cruises and all that kind of thing. I mean, I have their door bags in my race car. They're great. Buy those. Don't buy PRP if you're on a budget. They're a third the price. I think they are $69. And then another item in this cheap bag category, EPI belt bags. There's a bunch of different brands that sell the belt bags, but EPI is a good one. That's what I have on the car. I think I have 2 of them. They're $22 each. They keep your belts dry and clean, which is really important, especially when you are on the side of the trail. You don't want to have to clean your belt off before putting it on. Keeps it nice and fresh. You can put them on the back of your car, and it's just a nice zipper. Zip it open and throw the belt on. Okay, next thing, phone mount, tablet mount. I think all of us use some kind of navigation in some way, and like even in racing, you just use a regular iPad, like an iPad 1 with lead nav. I use a RAM mount. That's a really good brand. Quad Lock is another really good one for phones. The Quad Lock one I've had in other vehicles before. You just like click it on, and then to unhook, you just like push a tab and rotate your phone and pull it off. You can take it off real quick, and they have a really good case that comes with it, all that stuff. So RAM and Quad Lock are really good ones. That's like usually $50 to $100. Okay, and next item, and this is kind of pushing toward the edge of this boundary, but fire extinguisher or fire extinguisher mount. Every single person should have a fire extinguisher on their side-by-side. I have 3 on mine. Savage UTV is one company that makes one. I think it's the quick release mount and a 3-pound fire extinguisher. The smaller ones are like this big or something like that. I think they're $99, but that's a really big one. If nothing else, get the mount, get the fire extinguisher locally or something like that, but that's a big one. Okay, and something that you probably haven't heard of or thought about doing. Number plates, or custom number plates specifically. How I did this for my first race was I got Axia alloy mounts that were my exact roll cage diameter, and then got just a piece of flat carbon fiber off Amazon. It was like 20 bucks. I think the mounts were like 20 bucks. And then I picked dirt bike number plate backgrounds, custom made ones, for a 1997 CR250. It was the biggest number plate I could possibly think of. And then I just cut the numbers out of it, and then I cut the number plate into a square and just put that on there for the sides, and it worked out great. And then I cut the numbers out of the front number plate and then just stuck that on the edge of the roof, and it worked out really cool. And I had a bunch of people ask me how I did it, and it took me like an hour, and I think it cost me maybe $70 total. But another one is if you don't want to go through that hassle, you can get the Geyser number plates. I think they're a little over 100, something like that. They're a little bigger, nicer, and all that stuff. But hey, if you want to save some money and do it custom, do it that way. It's super easy to do, and it's kind of fun. Okay, another safety thing. If you haven't picked up on it, I'm big on safety stuff. Window nets. Never had them in any of my other side-by-sides until I started racing, and I got some good ones, and I will never, ever have a vehicle without them. They're a little hard to see out the sides, but make a huge difference with safety. The Amazon ones are actually not bad. I don't have them in mine. I have PRP ones that mine were like 250 bucks, but I've seen the Amazon ones in person. I've ridden passenger in cars that have them. They're really not bad. You can get them for like 60 bucks, I think, when they're vehicle specific, especially if you have a stock cage. Okay, next item from Rocky Mountain, the Tusk brand jack that you can mount on the roll cage. It's $82, I think. I have it on mine. I have it on the cage. It's really, really, really good. You gotta do some modifications to make it so it doesn't fall off. Do like an external strap around the whole outside of it or something like that. But it's solid, and it's pretty cheap. Like I said, $82. The one thing I did was welded a 3/8 drive socket onto it. I forget what size, maybe 17 millimeter or something like that, a little short guy, so that way I can put an impact on it and run it down. But I'm racing. It comes with the handle so you can do it manually like a regular scissor jack. It works fine, but yeah, so that one's really good and goes on the cage nice and out of the way, and it's about, what, 1/10 the price of the AGM jack, and it works fine. So, okay, also from Kemimoto, lower doors on Amazon. They're right around the $100 mark. I think I got mine for like $105 from Amazon. They're solid. They have an aluminum frame, hard plastic, and a seal around the bottom of it. Works great. I couldn't complain at all about them. I think they're solid enough. They're just as sturdy as the factory doors, and yeah, haven't had any issues yet. Okay, and kind of a simple one. Some handheld radios. Get them from your local sporting goods store or whatever. They're like, 30 bucks on up. Are you gonna be able to hear it when you're driving? Probably not, but they're quick and easy. Just turn on the power, make sure you're on the same channel, because they're pretty dummy proof. Like, cost almost nothing. Keep them in the glove box for an emergency or something like that, but they work really, really well. And even when you're in traffic and stuff, you can communicate back and forth. We use ours all the time. They work great. Okay, last thing in this category, an oil change kit. Maxima has a really good one. I think they're like $79. You can't go wrong. They are vehicle specific because it comes with an oil filter. There's people that have preference with oil filter. They want to go OEM, they want to do this and that. These ones are fine. We've always used Maxima oil filters, and Maxima oil is great. I think they're around $80 for like an X3. I know that specifically, but I think that's about the same price for anything. Comes with everything you need. Specifically, it comes with crush washers and O-rings, which if you're piecing together, it's going to cost a lot more because you're going to have to go to the dealer and get those crush washers and all that stuff. And trust me, you want new ones every time. I tried to skimp out the first time I did an oil change on my X3, and it puked oil everywhere on the first ride. Okay, and the next category, under $300 or $100 to $300 range, which is a pretty good sweet spot for like bigger items to be able to get one or two of for someone. Sticking on the theme of maintenance, belts, 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 belts. We always go through belts, even if your belt's in good shape, if you're gonna race or you're just going for a big long duning weekend and you're gonna go, you know, spend $400 on fuel to get somewhere and you're gonna do an entire day of driving to get somewhere, you wanna throw a new belt in before that, because you don't wanna risk blowing a belt and doing damage to something like the housing or your clutches or something like that and ruining your weekend. Get a belt. Your person's gonna love it. It's like, what, 130 to 160-ish range. You can never, ever, ever go wrong with those. Just make sure it's vehicle specific. Speaking of vehicle specific, chassis bracing. I can't really speak for RZRs. I know there's certain things that you need to do, but X3s are notorious for needing chassis bracing. Shock tower brace, gusset kit, bulkhead kit, or just the replacement bulkhead. CA Tech is a really good brand for this stuff. There's a bunch of good ones. You can't really go wrong with any of them. Super ATV, like I have a shock tower brace from there. It's good enough. Fitment's kind of weird, but it's sturdy enough. But anyway, that kind of stuff. Chassis bracing, big one, and solid gift. Not quite as fun, but there's a lot of work to putting them in, but there you go. Okay, and on the theme of chassis stuff, and I mentioned Shock Therapy has their big Black Friday discount sale going all weekend. End links, limit straps, and all that sort of thing. There's a lot of things on their website that are pretty cheap, relatively, for this stuff, that are really high quality stuff. They make really good good chassis parts, and I have a lot of their stuff on my car, and I even paid basically retail for everything because their quality speaks for itself. Okay, another one in this under $300 range. A helmet, specifically the helmet that I have. It's a Pyrotect duckbill helmet. It's $289, I think. It's super comfortable. Full face is way better than like a motocross style helmet with goggles where you're breathing in all the crap. There's like a kind of almost like a skirt that goes under your chin, and you can actually add a full skirt if you want to. But that skirt does a really good job of filtering out the dust, so you're not breathing it if you don't have a pumper. And if you have a pumper, they can add a pumper attachment to it, I believe. Or if not, they have pumper helmets on their website too that are basically the same one, just a little bit more money. But anyway, definitely recommend Pyrotect helmets. They are really high quality. They're built by racers, and smaller company, but very high quality stuff. And okay, safety stuff. Harnesses. They're like $120-ish per side. I have Pro Armor in my X3. I would highly recommend the PRP ones, especially the PRP ratcheting ones. They're really cool, and I definitely recommend 5-point. I want to say they're like $150 or something like that per side. They make riding so much better. I have the automatic tightening ones in my X3 when I first got it, and they suck donkey ass. Get some good harnesses. You cannot go wrong. That should be the absolute first thing you do when you buy a side-by-side. Throw the stock seatbelts away, put a good set of harnesses in it. You can't go wrong with that. Even just everyday riding, even if you don't crash, it'll just make it way more comfortable and hold you into the seat. You're not gonna be bouncing around and just feeling unsafe. And once you go to them, you will never want to go back. Trust me on this. Okay, and the biggest range, $300 to $1,000. Big ticket items, I know, but this stuff is expensive, and trust me, it's worth it. First thing, one of the biggest things you can do to improve your quality of your rides, aside from safety stuff, is an intercom system and a communication system. A rugged intercom system, not including the radio, those are $279, I think. And then you need the headsets, which are $100 each or something along those lines, or the helmet kits, and then the cables you need. That's so you can talk passenger co-driver in your helmets. Trust me, game changer. It's unreal how much better it is. You don't have to yell back and forth. And the radio system is cool too, where you can talk to other cars, but if you're going out by yourself and it's just you and your passenger or whatever, this is a big one. And even if you're looking at this and you're the owner of the UTV, this is a good present for the wife or your co-driver, because hey, we can talk now. We don't have to yell at each other. Big deal, trust me. It helps so much. And then don't skimp out. You can go with like a Cardo system. I know that's a big one, like the Bluetooth systems and that sort of thing. It's not gonna be that much cheaper. If you go with Rugged, I think they have a Black Friday sale going right now too, throughout the weekend or maybe through next week. They make really good stuff. Rugged is high quality. Don't do what I did and go with a cheaper brand to save some money. I did that for a full radio system, saved maybe $200, and I've had to send it back 3 times now, the entire system, and they're warrantying it, and it's a mess, and it doesn't work when I want it to work, and big deal. Anyway, go with Rugged, go with PCI, one of those 2 brands for off-road stuff. Trust me on this. Off-road proven, it's tough, they know what they're doing. Okay, and a more fun one, exhaust. I think Triel is running a Black Friday sale. I could be wrong on that, but they make really high quality stuff. It's handmade, stainless steel, TIG welded, all in the US. Very high quality stuff. I have their sport system with the non-resonated sport system on my X3. It sounds so good. It sounds way better than, I mean, I don't want to throw any companies under the bus or talk bad about any companies or anything. I think it sounds way better than Evo and all those other companies, but yeah, RPM is another really cheap one, or I shouldn't say really cheap, they're all expensive, but it's a cheaper one, more affordable. But yeah, so these exhausts range from anywhere from like 600 to 1,000. Trinity is another good one. Evo does make good stuff, it's good quality. Triel, like I said, but all those. Big reason, like on X3 specifically, is that the turbo is 3 inches and then it chokes down to 2 inches right out of the turbo. Makes it breathe better, sounds good. It helps, but yeah, makes it more fun. Makes you sound cooler. Okay, and chassis stuff. Front A-arms are a big thing on a lot of vehicles. You can do lower arms, like Super ATV and CA Tech. I think like Super ATV, I think you can get lower arms for like $700 or something like that. They're better than stock for sure. Hen Racing makes some good ones. There's a lot of companies that are pretty good for under $1,000, and yeah, you can't go wrong with those. Especially get them powder coated in whatever color that you're getting. Most of these companies offer that you can get them raw, and then you get your local powder coat shop to match whatever the other colors are on your side by side. And yeah, you definitely can't go wrong with those. It'll just make it safer because you're not going to land hard off something and have your front end blow apart as easily. Okay, and on the chassis note, radius rods. It's kind of an insurance policy. On an X3, they are notoriously weak. If you come down on like left rear or right rear, you can bend the radius rods, but it'll also bend the shock, and it'll bend the trailing arm, which those trailing arms are about $1,000 each, and the shock is, what, $2,000 a piece or something along those lines. Really expensive. Radius rods, I think I've seen them as low as $700. I have the shock therapy ones that are like $900, but they're really important, and those stock ones are just butter material, and they're so thin. So, big one, and you can get them custom powder coated, and it looks really cool. Okay, and another chassis thing. Safety is a big thing for me, like I've said. Do a cage kit. You can get an LSK or a CageWorks kit, and I think they're like $760-ish, something like that, and then another like $100 for shipping. They're really high quality, and they are surprisingly easy to put together as long as you're decent at welding. Or you can even bring it to a local fab shop, and chances are they'll do it for $500 or whatever. Because the biggest cost with getting a full cage is shipping. I got a prefabbed full cage for mine, and it was $2,000 and I think $600 for shipping. So get the kit, comes with all the individual pieces, tack them together and get them into the right shape. And then also at the same time, you can modify it if you want to and add in some extra bracing here and there, add in a B-pillar or something like that, make it a little stronger. Okay, last note in this category, and still in the safety category, seats. I personally have the Aces Racing seats, and they're okay. They're certainly better than stock. They're suspension seats. I think mine were $520 for both, which is unheard of. Most companies are a lot more than that. So it's a good intermediate between stock and like the full PRP that are like $1,500. But yeah, get some good seats. Your back will thank you, and you'll enjoy your rides more. Okay, and the last item, springs. I preached it in the suspension video that I posted a couple months ago. It makes a massive difference on ride quality and just how the machine acts. I think shock therapy springs are what, 800, 900, depends on what your vehicle is. MTS around the same, iLock, Hyperco, that sort of thing. Personally, I would recommend going through a shop who can tailor your springs for you, for your riding style, for your vehicle weight, your accessories, the terrain you're riding in, how many people that are riding with you, that sort of thing, how much beer you have. It's a lot of math to get the spring rate right, so it's kind of hard for you to just go directly to iBock and say I want this spring rate and this spring rate. But that is probably the biggest one in this category. I would say do springs. Trust me. Even if you're just casually riding, you'll get proper ground clearance. It'll act the way it's supposed to. It'll corner right. Just be way more comfortable. Okay, and the big category. Over $1,000, and chances are, if you're watching this video, if you can afford to spend over $1,000 on something, you already know what you want. But again, suspension. Get your suspension done. Get it revalved and resprung. It's like $1,600 and up to get your stuff set up right. You can buy I think you can buy a gift card or prepay it from like a Shock Therapy or an MTS or one of those kind of companies, or G-Force or Vital Motion Co. And Vital is the most affordable, by the way. High quality stuff, and he's not trying to pay for semis and all the advertising like the other big companies. But anyway, that'll make the biggest difference on ride quality rather than going for power and that sort of thing. Get your suspension revalved, get it resprung. It'll help a ton. It'll make you way faster up the sand dunes and all that stuff. Okay, next item. Like I mentioned earlier, the intercom, that you can do a full radio system from like Rugged or PCI. The PCI system's a little more expensive, but I think it's better quality from what I understand. Especially with racing and that sort of thing. I think they're better with engine noise canceling with their dual signal processing. Rugged's still pretty dang good. I think the Rugged full package for your vehicle ready to go is like $1,200. And the last thing on safety, seats. Again, PRP, Simpson, there's a bunch of different brands like that all make really good stuff. They're like $1,200 to $1,500 for a set, or even more if you're a 4-seater. But having ridden with PRP and Simpson versus like my Ace racing seats, or especially stock, you can't go wrong with those. I think it's well worth the extra money personally. I'm gonna pretty soon get some good seats from PRP. There's the whole argument of suspension seat versus rigid seat. I think rigid is a little safer. Suspension seats can sack out and then kind of like double bounce, like when you're on a trampoline, and they can actually break your back that way. You can slouch down into the seat. Not ideal, but yeah, Pyrotect is a big brand that makes really good rigid seats. I definitely recommend them. Sparco too, but they're more expensive and they're not UTV specific like the Pyrotech ones are. Pyrotech makes really, really good stuff. Okay, and last item, full cage. You do not want to run a stock cage in these things. Trust me, I've seen too many of them fail. I watched one in person fail and a bunch of kids get hurt, like seriously hurt, not too long ago. Because they rolled and their cage failed and yeah, one of them broke her arm super badly because the cage folded in. These cages, especially Pro R and X3, they may look beefy, but dude, do a cage. Aftermarket, even if it's thinner diameter, like my CageWorks cage is 1.75 inch. The stock one, outer diameter, is 1.85. When I pulled that stock cage off, it was paper thin and I could damn near dent it with my bare hands. I don't know how they're able to sell these things that are this high performance with these cheesy of cages. If you saw our YXZ video where we rolled, that cage saved us from getting seriously hurt. We rolled hard and that CageWorks cage saved us. It didn't even bend. I know I said it bent at the beginning, but upon further inspection, it didn't bend at all. It was the frame around it bent. But anyway, do a cage, trust me, and it's a really good gift. You can wrap it up, get it shipped to you. Usually lead time is pretty far out, but a lot of times they'll have them ready. And yeah, big gift, or just a gift for yourself, or a gift for the wife. But yeah, good gift for the wife, and say, hey, I'm gonna keep us safe. So anyway, but okay, that's kind of the general list I can think of. I've bought a lot of stuff for side-by-sides over the last while. I've wasted money on things I wish I wouldn't have. I tried to not include any of those things, obviously, but yeah, like I said in a previous video, I'm just trying to share what I've learned through this side-by-side world and spread the lessons I've learned. I've learned lessons the hard way and trying to share that knowledge with you guys. And yeah, subscribe for more if you want to see anything else. I'm trying to do a bunch of different side-by-side content, some racing stuff, some random product stuff, some just info stuff, build stuff. But yeah, there's a couple of things I'm working on right now, some really, really cool videos that are coming out really soon. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Peace.